This video will show you how to replace the front door window regulator on a Cadillac CTS. This will be located behind your front door panel. Let's get into it. A quick note about doing this job: to remove the window regulator, you're going to want to have the window down approximately 3 inches. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Let's start removing the door panel. To do that, we're up along the top. We need to remove our door lock knob. If you are looking in this area here, you can see that we do have a square trap door. This is actually the lock for the door lock knob, so I'm using a small pocket screwdriver. You can use a small pick. Gently pull that out and away, and you should be able to lift that knob out. That's how it unlocks. Just a quick inspection of that, we'll set it aside. Now, as far as this small trim panel, it's actually part of the door panel and it does not have to be removed. So once you have it pulled away from the door, let's continue on to the inside door handle area. Now down here, we have to remove this entire plastic panel. Keep in mind there will be an electrical connector where your door lock switch is. I'm continuing on with my plastic trim tool. I want to start prying this out. I'll make my way down along this area. Once I have it all broken free along here, we're going to pull on the inside door handle and slide the entire thing out of place. As I mentioned, just keep in mind there is a wiring harness back here. Obviously, we're being aware of any pinch points. Are. Now I'm rotating this so I can slide the door handle out of the trim panel. We have to disconnect the electrical connector for the door lock switch. It has one locking tab right in this area. For this locking tab, I like to use a small pocket screwdriver. You can also use a pick. Just make your way under it and gently pull out on that wiring harness. Every time you disconnect an electrical connector, just give it a quick peek for corrosion. If you see any, it has to be taken care of. This looks fine, so I'm going to set this switch panel aside. We'll tuck the wiring inside of the door panel. Let's make our way towards where our window and mirror switches are. You might also have a seat memory switch. We're going to remove this entire plastic panel, and we have to disconnect our 2 electrical connectors. As far as this panel is concerned, you're going to find that there's 4 locking tabs. You have one along the forward side here. You have a second along the rearward side. Along each side of this panel, approximately in the center, you're going to have plastic tabs that protrude out and they go underneath the door panel. So you're just going to have to carefully separate that as we continue on lifting this up and out of position. Keep in mind there are a couple wiring harnesses. As far as the forward and rearward side, there should be metal clips holding it in position, so I like to use a small pocket screwdriver. I'll come in straight, come in down at an angle, and then just start prying it up. As I'm prying it up, of course I'm being aware of any pinch points. I don't want to get hurt, but I do want to keep some light pressure. Let's continue on towards the center here. Now this is where I should have that plastic tab. I just want to try to pry this out and away. I'm just separating this. There's that plastic tab. It's starting to lift up. I need to make my way towards the rear. Along the rear, once again, you should have a metal locking tab in here. We're just going to try to work that out of position, and we should be able to lift this up and out. So looking from the bottom of the switch panel, we have our first electrical connector. This is for our large switch panel. This is for the window switch and our mirror switch. It has one locking tab here. Just go ahead and squeeze it in, and we'll pull that right out of place. You know what to do. That looks good. Continue on to the seat switch. Now this has a locking tab as well. We're going to have to press that in. It's typically done by hand. You can also use some pliers or a small screwdriver if necessary, if it's stuck in place. That looks good. Let's move towards where the grab handle is. Looking in this area, you have a small plastic trap door. This will have 4 locking tabs holding it in position. As far as those are concerned, typically once you start prying it out, the tabs should just separate and we'll roll it out of position. You can come from the top or the bottom, whatever's easiest for you. I'll use my small pocket screwdriver, something small enough to make my way in this area. As I mentioned, we're just going to pull it right out of place. There's those tabs. This looks good. Now let's have a look inside of this port. So once you remove that panel, if you were to look inside this area, you're going to find that you have 2 Phillips head screws. Let's remove the pair. There's our first mounting screw. Let's get that next one. To continue removing the door panel, we're going to carefully make our way behind the panel, in between the door and the panel itself, start pulling it away. For this, I'm going to be using a trim tool along the side. We'll start breaking it free, of course, being aware of any pinch points. With that said, let's start prying this out of place. Just find an area you can make your way in between. Generally along the side will be the easiest to start. Once it starts coming out, you can do it by hand. Just be aware of any pinch points. Now once you have it all broken free along the bottom, we're paying attention along the top. We'll carefully lift up on this and pull it away from the door. Let's have a quick look behind this area. Now with that out of the way, we're going to continue on digging inside this area so we can gain access to our window regulator that's located in and behind our vapor barrier. Let's dislodge this plastic apparatus here. Now you're going to find that there's 3 locating and locking tabs. Each one of these, you're going to have to squeeze on the locking ears. I like to use pliers, and then I just pull away on the plastic. Same process for all others. Now let's carefully hang this aside. Now since we are going to be dislodging the majority of this vapor barrier, I'm going to make my way all the way up along the top area here. I'm going to break this free. Now it's just one mounting point. I like to use a trim tool to separate this. You could typically pull it out by hand as well. Just a quick inspection of that. Now we can carefully start pulling away on this plastic vapor barrier. As you look through it, since it is partially clear, you can see that there is butyl tape making its way all the way around. That's an extremely sticky adhesive. You don't want to get it on your skin or your clothing. So with that said, we'll take hold of the vapor barrier and carefully start pulling it away. I'm going to make my way all the way down along the bottom, all the way over towards the other side, and then we'll just roll this all the way up and hold it up near the inside door handle. Roll this up here. Try to tuck it up and out of our way. We do want to be able to gain access to our mounting hardware up along the top. I'll just use some tape. Shouldn't need very much here. With that fully lifted up, we can have a look inside this area. Now this is where we have to gain access to the mounting hardware that's holding the window regulator and the window glass together. If you are looking at the window regulator, you're going to find that this area actually squeezes together up against the window glass. It's held in place with this 10mm mounting nut. We have to loosen the mounting nut, reach inside, and separate those 2 clamshell areas from each other. Separating them from the glass, once it's broken free, repeat the process on the other side. So now I have movement here. I can tell that I am separated from my glass. Sometimes it will get stuck. You just want to go ahead and separate it. Same process for the next one. If you have a hard time doing this by hand, you can use an angled pick. Just get in between the glass. Obviously, you want to be careful not to cause any damage. There we go. Now at this point, I'm going to have to start lifting the window glass up. I want to separate it from the window regulator. A quick note about this is once you lift it up, you have to make sure you're holding it there with something. We want to be as safe as possible. Of course, glass is breakable and it's potentially dangerous. This can be easiest if you have a helper. Now the next thing we need to do is carefully raise the window into the fully upright position. We're going to have to hold it there. I like to use some painter's tape. You can use whatever you like. Of course, tape is a lot cheaper than broken glass. Put this here for now. That'll wiggle. Slide it straight up just like that. Now at this point, it would be easiest if you had a helper to hold it while you tape. Otherwise, just be careful the glass does not fall as you continue on. I do have a helper. Use as much tape as you deem necessary. This looks good, let's continue on. So as we start looking at the window regulator and window motor, we're going to disconnect the electrical connector. It has a locking tab under this area. You could attempt to squeeze it by hand, or you could use a small prying device. I'm just going to use this pocket screwdriver, press on that tab, and slide this out of position. No corrosion there. We'll set that aside for now. Now that we have that disconnected, the next thing we have to do is remove 5 10mm headed mounting bolts. Along this area, we have 2 10mm bolts. There's one up top, one down bottom. On the opposite side, you'll have one up top and one down bottom next to the speaker. Now this can move, but there's one more 10mm mounting bolt. This one's going to be located up in this area. You're going to have to remove the inside door handle. It's very simple overall. We'll just pull down this vapor barrier. We can remove one 10mm bolt. Now we can take hold of this handle. We're going to give it a little tug. We're sliding it towards the side. We can slide this out of position. Now we're going to have to remove this hooked rod from the inside door handle. To do that, just go ahead and pivot it downward like this and slide that rod out of position. There's the hooked area, and that's where it slides into. You can see that orange area. We'll set this aside. Let's roll this back up. That exposes our last 10mm mounting bolt, holding this in place. Now that exposes our last mounting bolt. I'm going to be holding onto the window regulator and motor while I remove this bolt. This bolt is going to be considerably longer than all other bolts. Take hold of the window regulator assembly here. Slide it out of here. Let's prepare to install our brand new window regulator. As I bring my window regulator towards the door, I'm going to start in 2 of my mounting bolts prior to getting it in place. I have my longer mounting bolt. That's going to go in this port right next to my window motor. After that, I have my short mounting bolt. That's going to go in the upper portion of the regulator, which would be on the far side. Just start them in, we're leaving them loose. Now let's slide this inside of the door, along the large port. Just start bringing this in here. Now the short bolt will go inside of this port here, and then we can bring it down to the fully rested position. Try to get it lined up here. Now let's go ahead and set in the long bolt into this port here. We'll continue on to the other 3 mounting bolts. After all of them are started in, we can tighten each of them. So I'm just going to reach inside of the door. I'll take hold of the regulator. Obviously, I'm being careful for any pinch points. We've got that mounting bolt started in. Make our way over to the other side here. This one's a little difficult to see with our wiring harness. You can move that around as necessary. And the last mounting bolt up along the top. Now we can tighten these up. I'm going to start with my longer bolt. Move along to the next. Okay. And of course, double check, make sure everything's secured in place. Now it's time for our electrical connector. We have our locking tab. We want to make sure everything's aligned here. Line it up, press it in. Double check, make sure that's secured as well. Now on the brand new window regulator, you may find that the area that clamps the window is already pre-tightened. We're going to loosen the hardware. On this application, it's actually mounting bolts. You don't have to fully remove them, just loosen them enough that you can open it and slide the window down. There we are. That's nice and loose. I'm going to do the same exact thing on the opposite side. Now at this point, I'm holding on to the window glass. As I mentioned before, you can have a helper if necessary. Let's remove the window support. Now I'm going to start lowering the window down. As I bring it down, we need to make sure it sits properly into each side of the window regulator. So I'm looking inside the door as I continue on. Everything needs to be aligned here. We'll just make any adjustments we need to on both sides. Slide it down into the fully seated position. The window should not be up and away from the window regulator in any way. It needs to be perfectly seated. Double check both ends, and then we'll tighten the mounting hardware. Once you have it tight, lift up on the window. It should not move out of place. Repeat the process for the other side. Now just one last quick inspection while we're in this area. Make sure that you didn't leave anything in, such as possibly a flashlight or a tool of some sort. After that, we'll continue on with the reapplication of our vapor barrier. Let's start bringing the vapor barrier down into the proper placement. You should be able to see exactly where it was stuck to, because typically there's going to be some pre-existing butyl tape. We're just going to make our way all the way around this area. This should get tucked right in. Make sure that that aligns as we continue on here. Keep making our way over. Nice. With that in place, we have our wiring harness for the mirror. Slide that into position. Now we'll make our way down towards the bottom area. This needs to get put back in place as well. This has several ports. If you were looking at the door itself, you can see where the corresponding alignment and locking tabs are. Let's align this and press it into position. Okay, it looks like it's aligned. It's time for the inside door handle. As you remember during the removal process, the hooked end needs to slide through this orange port. I have it at an angle. Slide it through. Rotate it. Now we're going to press this towards the door, slide it all the way into the locked position, and install our 10mm mounting bolt. Nice. One last quick inspection in this area, and we can reinstall our door panel. Now when we install the door panel, we're coming up nice and high first. We're going to press it up against the door, and then we're going to start pressing it down. We want to try to get this into the fully seated position. Now once you feel as though you have it down far enough, we're going to continue on all the way around the door, driving it in up against the door, and then we'll just double check to make sure it's secured. We'll end up along the top and make sure this is secured as well. Make sure this is aligned. That feels good. All the way up along the top, we'll press this into position as well. There we go, just listen for an audible click from that. On the upper corner, let's get ready to install the door lock knob. We need to make sure we can gain access to our door lock rod. Now, if you find you have trouble, you could use some long nose pliers. We'll take hold of that rod, carefully pull it into an area that we can line this up. Now at this point, I'm going to line this up. I'm pressing it down. I can release my pliers, and now we'll just start pressing this down. We want to have this in the unlocked position. Continue on with your locking tab. Now, as far as this locking tab, you can see that it does have a small groove. When we press this in, that groove is going to go around our rod. This is what locks it in position. Let's leave this in the unlocked position and we'll continue on. Moving along from there, we're heading towards where our inside grab handle is. Just behind here, you remember we had 2 Phillips head screws. Let's start in each and then tighten them. To install our 2 Phillips head screws, we'll just carefully get them in position, and of course once they're both started in, we'll snug them up. Okay, this is looking good. Let's make sure they're nice and tight. Next, we'll install our protective cover. As for the protective cover, we need to have it in this orientation. Just have a quick look. You remember there's 4 locking tabs. Let's line it up, press it in. Make sure it's secure. Now it's time to install our master switch panel here. We'll start with the large connector. Audible click from that, and it's secure. If you have a seat memory switch, install that as well. Slide it in, audible click. Let's make sure we tuck the wires down and in. Now we're going to start bringing this down. As you remember during the removal process, each side of the switch panel will have this one locking tab. There's one here, one on the other side. As we start lining this up, we're just going to press it down and through. Double check, make sure that's secured. Let's make our way up. As we make our way up towards the inside door handle, we need to make sure we can gain access to our electrical connector for our door lock. Just reach up in here. Let's go ahead and secure that in place. Line it up, press it in. Audible click from that, and it's secure. Now let's continue on with the rest of this. We're going to take the door handle, we're pulling on it, we're sliding it through the port on this bezel. Now we'll start bringing this into position. Press it in up against the door. Okay friend, we finished the installation. Now the next thing we have to do is put the key in the on position and test the functionality. Perfect. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.